Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good time zones, everybody, and welcome to Talladega Super Speedway right here in beautiful Talladega, Alabama. This is the Racers Elites 500 right here at Talladega. I am Mike Taylor up in the booth with my good buddy Dakota. And behind the cams, we've got the one, the only Christian Hill. We are on tap here, ladies and gentlemen, for 500 miles around this massive super speedway. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and take a look at our race schedule. We are 2 rounds away from finishing this up over in Phoenix, over on November 2nd in 2 weeks. And we are excited to crown a champion at Phoenix. But first, we do have to get through Talladega here today. And we are getting tight in our point standings as well, but we'll go over that here momentarily. Let's go ahead and take a look at our track analysis. This is a 2.66 mile super speedway, 4 turns. It did open up in June of 1997. These drivers are going to have a tough time getting down on pit road because they're going to go from almost 200 miles an hour all the way down to 55 in just about a quarter mile. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. And the beautiful bankings is between 2 to 33 degrees up in the bankings of this speedway. So we are excited to get this thing underway. Let's go ahead and sit here and take a look at our point standings. Andrew Teft is on top with 250 points, followed by Dale Procopvalet. How do you say that? I'm so sorry, Dale. We're gonna do it for Dale though. He's just 1 point behind your points leader. DPV, I like that. So we do have DPV in second by 1 point, followed by Corey Crowell, saying just about 27 points behind them, and then Kensley Smith and Kirby Wayne Scott fighting for that 4th spot back there by separation of 1 point. Cole Larson, Alex Teff, Truth Hoke, Troy Thomas, JD Larson will round out your top 10 in points. And then you've got Christopher Pendle, Brian LaPratt, Cody Benelli, Paul Shaw, Alex Gates, Brennan Filippo, Aaron Roth, Richard Ode, Michael Prince, and then Brandon Puffenbarger round out your top 20 in points. Yeah.
So, real quick, I just want to look at the weather. It's 72. It looks like it's going to get up to 73. Going to have a little bit of wind coming from the south-southwest, about 2 miles an hour here. And track time is only 92 degrees, which is very good for these drivers, as they're going to be able to give really big pushes and not have any issues getting loose in the travel, I would expect. So, look forward to that.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a look now at your starting lineup for today's 500-mile race. Row number 1, you got DPV on the inside, and to his outside you have Michael Prince. Row number 2, you have Barry Nelson, Steve Sizemore to his outside. Row number 3, on the inside, Alex Gates, and to his outside you got Brian LaPratt. Row number 4, Andrew Teff will be joined by teammate Kirby Wainscott. Row 5, Rick Webb in that number 54 machine will be joined by Terry Fennell in the number 50. Row number 6, Cody Benelli in the number 19, followed by Lee Campbell in the number 12. I'm sorry, in the number 60 machine. Row 7, Aaron Roth in that 51 machine. And to his outside, you got Matthew Monick in the number 48. Kensley Smith and Christopher Pendle will be in row number 8. And rounding out your field is going to be Timothy Eisburn in that number 92 machine.
Hey, we finally got his name right today. It might have took a little convincing from him, but we did get it right.
That we did. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Drivers are pulling off and lining up here for their formation lap. We have 17 drivers on tap today. Don't look away now, ladies and gentlemen, because even though there's just 17 drivers, we are still in for a beautiful treat right here on Racers Elite Network, powered by iRacing. As these drivers get ready to get going, who do you have your eyes set on today here, Dakota?
You know, after the race we broadcasted just a few days ago, I think I'll have to go with Cody Benelli. Like, he was a very strong contender in that race the other day, and I got a feeling he's going to be very strong tonight.
Yeah, something tells me that I want to pick Andrew Teff because he's been really, really fast pretty much everywhere we've gone. However, I'm going to go with his teammate Kirby Wainscott. He knows how to get around these super speedways, so I'm excited to see what Kirby can do in that number 10 Toyota here today. As the drivers are getting ready to come out of turn number 4, we're going to get ready to pull these belts tight here, and we're going to have some fun here at Talladega Super Speedway. 500 miles. Everybody buckle up. We are in for a real treat right here with Racers Elite. Pace car is in. Remember, this starting line is all the way after the tri-oval, so these drivers have a long way to go to get there. And we are green flag racing right here on Racers Elite for the Racers Elite 500 here at Talladega. DPV and Michael Prince are still side by side. This is actually one of the best starts that I've seen here at Talladega in a very, very long time. Neither lane giving up, much room here. As you see now, DPV is now starting to pull out in front of Michael Prince with that number 45 machine. And he's getting actually a pretty good push from Barry Nelson in that number 28. Nelson has been very strong here as of late as well. So seeing him up here pushing Dale to the front just like this, it's actually really no surprise.
And it didn't take them long to get shuffled out in 305. It looks like they're going to try to get back 2 wide here, see if they can get a mounted charge on the outside with about 3 or 4 cars.
And as we see one car stuck to the outside lane, he's finally going to be able to get down and back into line, as that outside lane only currently has, well, now there's only 3 cars out there. And so those 3 drivers are not going to have much luck out there, so they're just probably going to need to tuck back in line here. As you see, a couple of cars kind of jump out in line.
With there being 188 laps, I'm not believing we're going to be seeing a lot of shuffling around this early. It's probably going to be a lot of signal flag runs just for the moment, but we'll see how it plays out.
Absolutely, still a very, very, very long way to go here. Kensley Smith still stuck on the outside there. As we go ahead and take a ride on board here with Kensley Smith. He was able to get down into the line before I even said something. As they come rocketing out of turn number 2 down this very long straightaway. And he will come up behind Benelli. He's going to start pushing Benelli around the outside here as they're making ground quickly on the outside here. Right now they are up on the top side of Andrew Teft in that McDonald's number 98 machine. What a combo there for the 98 machine. Gives me plenty of throwback memories. And they're still coming strong on that outside. Now they also have help from the 88 of... Oh no, that's not the 88. Sometimes their paint schemes confuse me.
That'd be the 45 of Michael Prince, wouldn't it?
I believe so. I believe that is Michael Prince out there in the number 88 machine getting pushed. Whoa. Big stack up there, but they're going to go ahead and get themselves sorted. As we take a look at Cody Benelli, still getting that good push by the 15 there of Kensley Smith. They got to be careful, and they don't want to overdo their pushing, because they still got to let their engines cool off, even though the opening for their radiators are so much bigger than what they used to be. These drivers still need to be careful of that overheating issue.
Excuse me. These cars are pretty resilient, though. You can go probably like an optimal temps. You could go probably a full lap on somebody's bumper before you even get close to overheating, but it does play a factor when you're on and off somebody's bumper quite a lot here. As they're starting to kind of spread out on the inside, you can see there now, especially around that second place area. He's not really locking up bumpers with them, and he's finding all the air he can, getting a little lower than the lead car here.
And that inside lane's doing a phenomenal job with Barry Nelson pushing Dale in that number 9 machine, and they're not giving up on that outside lane yet. They have more help. Kirby Wainscott, he's joined them back there.
So we've done, what is it now? This is our 3rd race at Talladega this week, correct?
Yeah.
So the outside line has been able to mount big chargers with less drivers the past few nights, and we're seeing that right now as they do have slightly less, but I don't think they're really pushing as hard as they can at the moment. It's still a long race to go, but just keep an eye on the outside line as the latter half of this race comes in.
Yeah, this outside lane has definitely grown the last 2 laps. They went from just about 3 drivers, and now they're pushing with 7. As you see, Benelli going to go ahead and allow Kensley to go ahead and get that push in. He's going to go ahead and fall back here to the end of the line. And this is part of, restrictor plate racing. You only can, like we were just saying, you only can push so long before your car starts to overheat. So most likely Kensley was like, hey, I'm starting to overheat. And as you saw there, he was like, don't worry, I got you. I'll drop to the back. And so now it's going to be all up to that driver up there, Michael Prince, in that number 45 WeatherTech Chevrolet, as they're actually getting a pretty good head of steam right here. And they're going to pull out, they're going to pull out in front of the inside lane here. 3 cars are cleared now, but let's see if they will drop, and they will. Unfortunately, Brian LaPratte, he will get stuck to that outside lane, and now it's going to be up to that 08 machine of Steve Sizemore to go ahead and get that outside lane back to the front, as he is now right there on the back bumper of Brian LaPratte. I am actually very surprised about, how active these drivers are being, running side by side like this. I would normally expect this out of a 40 car field. But with there only being 17 drivers here today, they're putting on one heck of a show, and we're only working lap number 9 at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like a couple people trying to get their lap lid, and just now they're kind of single filing out as it is a long race still ahead. Definitely don't want to make any mistakes and end up with a hurt hot rod this early into the race.
That is very true. That outside lane has fallen back to just about that 11th spot back there. And now they have 4 drivers back there. They're now starting to make their headway back towards the front a little bit here. Oh, look at that bump from LaPratte to the back of Sizemore in that 08. And that's going to give them a good head of steam here, heading down into turn number 3 here. So these drivers will have to make pit stops. About how far can these drivers go on one tank of fuel?
Well, I don't do a lot of 100% fuel races, so that's a good question. I believe they should be good for at least 30 some laps, but I could be wrong.
So we are probably just about 25 laps away from thinking about green flag pit stops here. Now these drivers, they don't do stage races. They don't do stage points. So these, so these guys are going to go from flag to flag, and if there is no caution, well, there is going to be no caution, as we now have everybody out here single file, and it is going to be led by Kensley Smith in that number 15 Napa Chevrolet, and he will be getting pushed by that 45 of Michael Prince in that WeatherTech Chevrolet.
I'm actually a big fan of no stage racing because it allows the people that are very skillful at the track for the day, which this being day, it's kind of more of as long as you can keep in the draft, you can kind of keep yourself up with the leaders. But most other tracks, it just goes to show who's got the best car for the day, because you know you don't have no stages to bring everybody back together, and you're able to actually show that you got a dominating car throughout the entire race.
That is very true. As we have that outside lane reforming, and it looks like it is being led. Well, let's take a look here. Yeah, it's going to be led there. Lee Campbell and that wheeling Ford Mustang, as he is getting pushed by the 19 of Cody Benelli. So Cody Benelli, he's ready to start making his way back towards the front. And look at this. Look at the move just around the outside of the inside lane here. Big separation here between the 98s of Andrew Teft and that 54 of Rick Webb. So that's going to allow these drivers here to really, you know, start gaining on that outside lane, because with that inside lane being so much more separated, they're not going to go just as fast. You know, for those viewers at home that watch all three series, I mean, technically even 4 series if you want to include the ARCA series. You know, one of the things that you can do in the other cars that you cannot do here is you can draft fast with only 3 cars. Here you need at least 4 to 5 cars in order to be like really fast, you know, in a single line. Why it's like that in these cars, I'm not 100% sure, but that's just something that I've realized as, you know, as I've raced in these cars, as they start getting a lot of movement here and down into turn number 1. A couple cars hitting down on that apron.
I think to answer your question, it's just got to do with the aero package on this car is so much different than the Xfinity car or the trucks, where you actually got to use the bottom of the car to get proper aero. So these cars, you're not really technically supposed to seal the splitter to the ground, and you kind of typically, in my experience, you keep the rear a little lower than the front in most cases, which allows the air to slip under the car and give you better aerodynamics. It's a very weird process, but it does work.
I got you. That makes a lot more sense, as we now only have 3 cars to that outside lane. Lee Campbell, Cody Benelli, and the 101 of Brian LaPrette are on that outside lane. So these guys, they're not really going to make any headway on that inside lane here. As you see, even the 101 trying to push his way towards the front here. You know that saying, don't push the pusher?
Yeah.
Here, you want to push the pusher. It is actually very important for that third car to actually get right behind that second car and push him into the leader. And that will actually make that line go a lot faster. It is a very weird concept, but in order to actually really get these cars to rocket, you know, say like you have 6 cars, that third car has to be pretty much right on the back bumper of the second car, and then you guys will actually go pretty fast.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, it's still pretty early in the race. I feel like a lot of these drivers are just chilling and relaxing, as they're racing pretty clean and being patient, taking their time at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of good racing currently, as we're continuing to watch this outside lane try to make some headway on the inside lane, as they are able to get up right next to that 54 there of Rick Webb. Now that inside or that outside lane, if they really wanted to, they could move down but they would leave at least 2 cars hanging, but that gap is now closed up. And here comes, man, that guy's getting a good head of steam down there. That number 94 machine of Christopher Pendle, he just got a good head of steam, sucking up right back to that back bumper of Lee Campbell there on the back straightaway. In the middle of the race, we know that fuel is a big thing here. Your race leader is full out, while everybody else is running just about between 3/4 to probably just about quarter throttle. At this point in the race, what would your game strategy be for such a long race like this?
I mean, I'm most definitely just going to chill mid-pack to the back at the moment. I mean, the main laps that matter when it comes to super speedway is the closing 10. If you can, but you got to make it there first. I'm also noticing a lot of manufacturers trying to get together. That pack that was on the outside actually dropped down in front of some more Ford Mustangs there, and it looks like they're trying to get ready to go through the pit cycle here soon. That way they can come out together and work together, trying to get towards the front of this field.
Yeah, as we are now working lap 20 here. You know, I was actually just sitting here looking through the field, and something stood out the most to me here, and that's that number 10 car, Kirby Wayne Scott. He is the only Toyota in the field. So he doesn't have any friends here in the Toyota camp. So it's going to be very interesting to see if anybody's going to be willing to work with him at the end of this race.
Knowing these drivers, I mean, this is a good group of fellas here. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to work with them.
That they are now running 3 wide, as we have that 48 and the 08 of Matty Monick and Steve Sizemore trying to make room on that outside to go 3 wide, but unable to do that, as they will fall back to the back of the pack, and they will attach to the rear of both the inside and outside lanes. And here comes that outside lane here once again. They are now trying to make very good headway here, and it is going to be started off here by Andrew Teft on that outside, as we will ride on board here with Andrew Teft. 190 miles an hour around this super speedway, as he is trying to make his way to the outside of Dale, and now trying to get to the outside of his teammate Kirby Wayne Scott. Come on, push, push, there we go. As they now rocket into turn number 3. Sorry, my race fan just came out there for a second.
You know, with the amount of horsepower at the short tracks and such, it'd be kind of cool if they'd add a little more horsepower on the super speedway, but I understand that would be a big safety issue, as these cars are already pushing close to 200 plus most of the time with the 40 car field. It's definitely going to make the racing a little more interesting, I believe, once they implement that into our racing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make a huge impact. You know, with the change here, as we have Andrew Teft now actually working his way up beside Michael Prince there, and they will clear Michael Prince, and now he's attacking that 15 of Kensley Smith. Yep, changing the horsepower in these cars for mile and a half and under is going to be very interesting to see, you know, what kind of racing we're actually going to go back to seeing, as they're going to add, you know, about 100 horsepower to these race cars.
It's definitely going to make it more of a driver's car, in my opinion, as these cars are pretty planted right now on most tracks, but with that extra horsepower, I got a feeling it's going to be a lot looser at some of these tracks like Richmond and maybe even Atlanta if they added to that track. I'm not quite sure if they're going to add that one or not, considering it's considered a super speedway now. But
Yeah, that's actually a very good call. You know, I never actually sat back and thought about that as we continue to watch Andrew Teft get a push here from that 60 machine of Lee Campbell. They're doing their best to see what they can do about getting out in front of this field. And whoa, there it goes. Teft will drop down, but here comes Lee Campbell to the outside. He's like, now I got you out front. Now it's my turn to go out front. As you see, Christopher Pendle, he will get onto the back bumper. The first two cars are clear. So we're going to see if these two drop down here or if they're going to stay to the outside there. As they will go ahead and drop down to that inside lane. And that's going to bring Andrew Teft right back to the back bumper. But he decides to go outside to go in front of Benelli. And he's going to say, okay, well, now it's my turn to go back to the race lead. I think that was a little bit of a too early of a move there by Teft. As he lost so much momentum waiting for that 19 of Benelli to get to his back bumper. So that's going to be unfortunate there, as we have a big wobble out of the 15 there, as he will go all the way to the outside. That was a massive wobble out of that 15 machine of Kensley Smith, but he's able to keep it straight. So no harm, no foul. As he will go ahead and get sucked down right behind the outside lane. And it looks like we're having radio communication issues with Terry Fennell in that number 15 machine. So he's going to drop to the back here and make sure that he can get his radio sorted out. As you see Teft trying to, once again, to make his way back to the outside of your race leaders, but they're just not able to get that good head of steam like they had last time. What an incredible race so far these drivers are giving us. Your current race leader, Lee Campbell, in that number 60 Ford Mustang, getting a pretty decent push by Christopher Pendle in that number 94 machine, as we ride with Cody Benelli, as he's going to fall to the back of the field here. And he'll just get suckered right back in line here. Now he does have room to come down right behind that 92 machine of Timothy Eisburn. Oh, he's just going to stay right there to the outside and use the draft off of that. I believe that's Steve Sizemore in the 08 he's using that draft off of. And they are going to get right back into it right there. It is so incredible on how the draft just works. You know, as long as you're just about 1 second behind the driver in front of you, you can still use that draft and get sucked right back into it.
So we have a breakaway with the top two cars here.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a breakaway here between with Lee Campbell and Christopher Pendle. And it's actually very interesting to see these two drivers, you know, actually pulling away. But here comes the rest of the field right back to the back bumper of those two, as they were thinking about going up to block the 98 of Andrew Teft, but they decided just to stay right here in the inside lane. And that 94, he is not getting off that back bumper at let the car breathe, man.
You got to be careful getting big runs like that, though, because it'll just allow the people behind you to suck up using the draft and just blow right past you in some situations.
Yeah, that two-car tandem, it only works for about 2 laps, and then the rest of the field just gets right back to your back bumper. It's not a very good strategy with these cars, unlike what we saw with the, I think it was the Gen 6 cars, I think it was, where you could just do the two-car tandem and, just pull away from everybody.
Yeah, I believe they did that to help allow their Ford teammates to try to get caught up to the front pack there and drop down, as they seem like they're having a little bit of an issue on the outside getting around the front too there.
Yeah, now we got 3 Fords out front here of Lee Campbell, Christopher Pendle, Andrew Teft. But then you got followed by 5 Chevrolets of Brian LaPratte, Kensley Smith, DPV, Michael Prince, and Barry Nelson. And then you've got that lonely Toyota, Kirby, Wayne Scott. Everybody now somewhat, just chilling out down here on the bottom lane for the moment as they're continuing to let these laps wind down. I would imagine that we're going to see some pit stops here probably within the next 10 laps. So we're going to have to watch and see what happens here as you see this snake just make their way, slither through the turns here. And Lee Campbell, he's going to stay to the outside here because I'm assuming Christopher Pendle, he really needed to get his car to cool off. And so that 60 machine, he pulled up just to let his teammate by. But unfortunately, there's really not much room for him to get back down. So he's going to be struggling on that outside until he gets either help or somebody's going to be nice enough to let him down back to that inside lane. Christopher Pendle leads this field out of turn number 2, getting pushed now by Andrew Teft in that McDonald's number 98 machine. And Brian LaPratte, he's been holding his own up there in that number 101 machine, seeing the top 3 for the first time today. And I just want to point out Kensley Smith in that number 15 machine in that 4th spot. He has moved up 11 spots since we went green flag, racing 33 laps ago. So they're doing a pretty decent job at the moment, just minding their P's and Q's coming up through the field. And Christopher Pendle, your race leader, I just realized he's moved up 15 spots. So very strong performance out of the number 94 and the number 15 so far today. As you see this snake just slither down the back straightaway and up into the banking of 3 and 4. Dakota, so I live probably about 20 minutes away from Daytona, the sister track to Talladega. And the banking at Daytona is just about 3 stories high. And when you're standing down on the apron, looking up at the wall, it is an absolute amazing view. And race cars go up. Whoa, as we have contact in the back. That was almost a crash there for the number 92 of Timothy Osbrand.
Yeah, I've been told if you take a normal car and go up on the banking and you're not going fast enough, the car will slide right down the track.
Yep. the rule of thumb is you want to be going at least 50 miles an hour before you hit that high bank. Because if you're going any slower, I mean, even in these cup cars, you know, you come to a stop, you know, up top at those tracks, the car will just pretty much slide down to the inside lane.
Yeah, about back when Cletus was doing Talladega, I was watching a video of him and the Biff going around the track, and Biff was explaining it a little bit and how the draft works and how to get onto the pits and stuff. Which that's an entirely different challenge of its own, you know, trying to get from 200 miles an hour as you come out of turn 4 into the pits without speeding. My fuel calculations might have been off just slightly.
What you got?
I'm still not 100% sure. I guess we'll just have to see when they bring it down and go based off of that at the moment. If I remember correctly, these cars have about 18-gallon tanks, and they normally average anywhere from 4 miles to the gallon, so that's why I assume they should go in around lap 30, but
Well, let me ask my amazing friend Jack GTP.
well, that's just what the actual Cup car runs. You know, iRacing's a little different sometimes.
So according to Jack GTP, it says that a NASCAR Cup car at Talladega can run roughly 50 to 55 laps. I'm not sure how true that is, but I'm listening into some radio comms at the moment, and it sounds like that number 19 of Benelli, he's looking to come in possibly in the next couple of laps.
I was a little off, maybe not too far. But they have been saving fuel pretty good and changing leads, so maybe that's also helped with the drivers being able to save a few extra laps of fuel here as we're starting to see our first green flag pit stops.
Yep, a lot of drivers coming down into the pits here. Yeah, Kesley Smith, Michael Prince, Dale, Alex Gates, Cody Benelli, Steve Sizemore, Alan Roth, these 7 drivers come down pit road.
Yeah, it was a pretty good interest to pit road for most of those drivers as well. Didn't seem like anyone locked the brakes up or had any issues. Kind of curious to see when the rest of the field's going to come down here. Are they going to try to maximize their fuel load, or are they going to try to match them and go ahead and come in now?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely very interesting here to see. As you see the rest of the field, except Wayne Scott and Matty Monick, those 2 drivers are going to stay out. I don't think that was a smart move, honestly, between Kirby, Wayne Scott, and Matty Monick, as they are still pretty much separated. So they're going to go from just about 190 miles an hour all the way down to maybe just about a whopping 175. So it's going to be a huge difference for those 2 drivers, especially since they are not, running side by side or I'm sorry, nose to tail. So that's really going to hurt them. I absolutely love this view of these cars exiting pit road.
Yeah, but it might pay off in the late parts of this race, as they're going to have an extra lap or 2 of fuel depending on how long they stay out here.
All right, and those two drivers are now going to come down pit road. They did have just about a good 10 car length separation between them. So I'm not sure how well that's going to benefit these drivers, as you got a good majority of your field now coming down the back straightaway here. And once these drivers get themselves back in order here, we're going to see if the racing is going to get picked up or not.
As the 15, the 88, and the 9 had rocketed to the front of the pack here after their pit cycle.
Yeah, and just as I feared, this front lead group is going to get around these two drivers, and they're going to lose the draft, and they're going to lose it fast. This is definitely a very unfortunate situation here for Wayne Scott and Monic.
I mean, there's people racing side by side, 2 by 2, right in front of them. If they kind of drag the brake a little bit and get tied up here, they might be able to catch up to that second pack, and then they can all work together to get caught up to this front pack here that is all single filed out at the moment.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. And just wanted to take note that everybody got down onto pit road just fine. There was no penalties given. As it looks like actually Kirby Wayne Scott and Matty Monic actually will have some help back here from the 28 of Barry Nelson. So these two drivers, they're going to get themselves hooked up here with Wayne Scott, and I'm going to start watching to see, if they can start gaining on the front pack here, as they are just about 4 or 5 seconds back behind Sizemore in that 08 machine. So I'll keep track of that, and I'll let you guys know.
Since we have got through our first pit cycle and we're still green flag, why don't we go ahead and do one of our commercial breaks?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we will return here in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to Talladega with the Racers Elite Network. As Kinsley Smith is currently leading in the 15 Chevrolet. Most of the group has single filed out here. It looks like that second pack back there is going to try to get caught up to the front pack. We do have an additional third pack back there of, let's see, it's going to be Matthew, Barry Nelson, and Kirby Wainscott. A 3-car pack there trying to get caught up. Hopefully they will be able to and get some side-by-side action-packed racing going here. Well, me and Mike actually figured out a way to kind of do that I can talk with you about after this race if you'd like. So right now the Chevys are working pretty well together, but the Fords are looking like they're trying to get grouped up here and possibly make a run to the outside, as it looks like they're dropping back a little bit. So it appears Steve Sizemore has had radio connection issues for the moment. Maybe he'll be able to get that fixed and join back into the race, but for now he's going to be stuck in his pit box. Overall, it's been some pretty good, respectable racing today, as they're keeping it very clean. No cautions so far, 50 laps into the race.
Give us a little bit of time when we make it a 6-car pack.
Some very nice paint schemes in the field today. A couple noticeable ones I'd like to point out would be like the 9-car. Kind of looks like an old Dale Jr. throwback. In a sense, it's a nice little Budweiser. Simple, but very clean, and I like it. Of course, you got the Shane Van Gisbergen style 88 WeatherTech Chevy. And the 15 and a Napa / Budweiser mixed of a Chevrolet Camaro there.
Well, seems like the best option. Collect feedback.
As it appears our leader, Kinsley Smith, has opted to move and drop to the back here, possibly to save a little bit of fuel. No harm, no foul. Is able to get out of the way and going to be able to connect to the back of the pack here.
Get faster.
Michael Prince is going to be taking over our lead here. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's a little bit of a different strategy there, as Kinsley Smith appears to be trying to draw back to the second pack and possibly help get them called up to the front pack here.
Get to me, let me down.
As they're still single file on the front pack for the lead at the moment. Appears the 57 Aaron Roth is going to be getting put a lap down at the moment. hopefully he'll be able to catch up to this front pack and maintain his position.
That 9 car of Dale has definitely been doing a really phenomenal job out there in that Budweiser machine.
Thank goodness the real broadcaster's back, as I currently am sick and under the weather, so I'm not very good at talking at the moment.
The real broadcaster. Nah, man, you're a good commentator, buddy. Sick or not, don't beat yourself up.
But yeah, that nine car has been doing a phenomenal job keeping the 88 up front at the moment. As we have seen some strategy while you were away, Kinsley Smith has dropped back to pick up his second pack here and try to get them rocketed towards the front. And honestly, I'm surprised they're not slowing down to pick up this 2-car pack right behind them of, who is that here? Kirby Wainscott and Matthew. No.
Matty Monick and Barry Nelson's back there as well.
Yeah, 3-car pack, not bad. If they all get hooked up together, they'll probably be able to catch up to this front pack within the next 30 laps before the next pit cycle.
Oh, yeah, there's still a very good, strong possibility that they can happen if they can get all 6 cars here lined up.
Good. Just gas up, take a grip back.
And it seems like something happened to Steve Sizemore in that number 08 machine. Looks like he pulled down into the pits back on lap 47, and
Maybe not.
Matthew Monick as well.
Yeah, Matthew, so I got another one.
Oh, I just got word that Matthew Monick has blown his engine. So a failure for that number 48 Kit Kat Ford Mustang. Very unfortunate there for him.
Down the backstretch, push me while I'm pushing out.
Yeah, as you saw him back here in that 3rd pack trying to work really hard to get them caught up to the 2nd pack so they can make a charge towards the front.
Yep, from what I just heard from Matty Monick is he was pushing Alex Gates in that number 77 machine. Kinsley Smith was also pushing him, and he just couldn't get enough air to that radiator and pull himself off, and he blew up on the back straightaway.
Yeah, sometimes things like that happen. It's not all the time, but I mean, it's just a small mistake. It's just unfortunate it's going to end this race day for the moment.
While we are taking a look here at Michael Prince and that number 4588 machine out front. They're doing an incredible job up here by them lonesome selves. And then back here being led by the number 77 of Alex Gates. You've got 9th place all the way to 15th, all now lined up nose to tail. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can gain that 14.5 seconds to the back bumper of the 54 of Rick Webb. So we'll be watching that here now as these drivers are still continuing to take away laps. We are now working lap number 57. Time is still ticking away here, and as of right now, they're not really gaining much on that front pack, as they're still sitting just about 14.5 seconds back. It's interesting to see right now. Everybody is now currently single file. So I believe on this next round of pit stops here, I think both packs are pretty much going to try to come down at the same exact time. as each other, and maybe, you know, one of these packs will mess up, and, you know, we could possibly see our first caution there, you know, under green flag conditions as they come down pit road. But we got to get all the way to at least lap 80 before we can decide that. As we just saw, well, I saw a lot of movement out of that second pack. Sorry, I got my eyes looking in two different directions. One eye is looking at what we're seeing here live on the Racer Elite Network versus what I'm watching here with this backpack and over here on my other screen. But there the 92 there of Timothy Osborne, he pushed up there just a little bit in that third spot. It seems like his car is starting to get probably a little bit on the tighter side. Entering turn 3, because that was the second lap in a row that Osborne kind of jumped out from line heading into turn 3. As we take a look here at that beautiful red, white, and blue paint scheme of Alex Gates in that number 77 leading the second pack. These guys need to stay just like this, as they have gained almost a second this last lap over to 8th place of Rick Webb. So they're doing a phenomenal job so far, staying in line and starting to make headway. Yes, as they start to make their headway to the front of, to the back bumper of the lead pack.
And this lead pack's done a phenomenal job at pushing, lifting up in the corners and leaving enough space so they don't have to worry about anybody getting spun around, and pushing really hard on the straightaways here. That way they're able to keep their engines cool and such. As it kind of looks like third place might be looking to make a move on the outside of our leaders currently. But it looks like they're just going to fall back in the line and relax for now.
Yeah. I think that is something that the second pack is really hoping that the lead pack does, is start actually racing up front, you know, double wide, as they would make headway to get back to that back or to that front pack. So that's something that these drivers back here are hoping for, is those drivers start actually racing up front. But as of right now, everybody is running single file. Kensley Smith in that number 15 Napa Chevrolet is doing a phenomenal job staying right on that back bumper of Alex Gates as he continues to try to push and pull this field to the back bumper, and they have gained another 2 seconds on the front pack here. So they're slowly reeling in that front pack. So I give them probably at this point, probably just about maybe about 20 laps before they reach the back bumper of the front pack. And at that point, I think we're going to start seeing green flag pit stops start happening at that point. As you guys saw briefly this last time out of turn 2, we caught a glimpse of the back bumper of your race leaders on camera. So that just shows, you know, these guys are doing one heck of a job able to get back up to the race leaders here, as they are now only 12 seconds behind. As we sit here right on board now with Alex Gates, and you see the separation between them. It's saying that just about 12 and a half here.
It's about a full straightaway.
Yep, just about a full straightaway, yeah.
But they are making good progress on getting caught up to this lead pack here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And actually, just now they just gained another half second coming down the back stretch and through turns 3 and 4. So these guys are doing an incredible job, maintaining single file. Because the more single file they are, the faster they're going to go. I'm actually very impressed with these 6 drivers back here, able to keep it single file the way they are, not really moving out of line. I think the only one that's really making some big movements is Aaron Roth in that number 57 machine.
Doing a good job. Yeah. Yeah, you don't bring it up.
I just got word, or I just overheard radio chatter coming out of Cody. Yeah, the 19 of Cody Bonelli. He was complimenting the 3 drivers in front of him of the 77 of Alex Gates and the 57 there of Aaron Roth. Those
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Alex Gates, Kensley Smith, and Timothy Eisbrand just got complimented by Cody Bonelli. And, yep, they're saying they're talking about how well those 3 are able to keep it in line and get that backpack moving, as they are now just about 8 seconds. So they're doing an incredible job. So it's not going to take too much longer for that backpack to catch them, as we did jump back up here to your lead pack. Michael Prince in that number 4588 machine is still out front. Dale Prokop Veliquet, he's doing pretty good up there in that number 9 Budweiser machine, followed by Christopher Pendle in the number 94 machine.
One thing I do like about this league, especially this being a 100% race, they are doing some very respectable driving at the moment and being very patient and clean, versus or most other leagues and official races, you'll be seeing people go side by side and not trying to work together and wrecking each other. It definitely makes for some good green flag runs and seeing different strategies and stuff play out.
Yeah, definitely different strategies playing out. It's definitely going to be interesting here to see, what the strategy will be as that second pack catches the front pack. Are they going to attempt to run around the outside, or do you think they're just going to stick in line and just wait until after the pit cycle?
I mean, we still got about 10 laps, I believe, or maybe a little more before we have to pit here, but it really is going to depend on how many laps they have before they got to pit and how much momentum they have, because if you can't get the whole line by the leaders here, are you really willing to sacrifice the people that's been helping you is going to be key as well. As the lapped car of Aaron Roth, it looks like he's dropping back to the second pack here as he lost draft on the front pack. That'll be good for them. That'll give them an extra car to kind of help push.
Yeah, the more cars, the absolute better. You know, the south or the second pack is now just within 3.5 seconds to the back bumper of your race leaders. That was an incredible push, incredible run from that second group of cars. So I'm very impressed with how well they worked together back there, and here they are, you know, marching their way, inching themselves closer and closer every second as this race goes on.
At the rate they are closing in, I got a feeling they are going to try to go around the outside here with the momentum they have, because once they catch up to this front pack's draft, they're really going to pick up the speed here as you see them closing in coming out of 4.
This front pack has kind of separated themselves just a little bit between the top 3 now and the rest. And so that's going to allow that second pack to really sucker up a lot quicker here to the back bumper as your race leaders are coming up on that number 50. Who was that out front of them? Was that Aaron Roth? No, Aaron Roth is there.
I believe it's going to be the 101 of Brian LaPratte. Oh.
Cody Benelli has been yelling at everybody to thank Kensley Smith in that number 15 for doing an incredible job at pushing Alex Gates, and they have now caught the back bumper of your race leaders. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is back to a 14-15 car race for the race lead now, as we are starting to see now double wide racing here once again at Talladega, as we have just about 6 laps to go before we start seeing our next cycle of pit stops. That was just an incredible run by that second pack, and now we have everybody together here once again, and that 101 machine finally able to get back down to the inside lane. Now they will run single file here once again.
I will say Michael Prince being out in the lead has probably hurt his fuel mileage just a little bit. He might have to pit a little sooner than others. I won't be surprised if I see him possibly drop back a couple spots here soon to try to save a little bit to go as far as he can. As these drivers still have over 100 laps left in the race.
Yeah, these drivers, especially Michael Prince and the 77 of Alex Gates and maybe Kensley Smith, they both will have, you know, they both have been full throttle this whole entire time. So it's going to be interesting to see if those two will have to eventually pull out and start to work with each other, you know, because they're probably going to have to come down before everybody else, actually.
Then another thing, the front pack there, while they were pushing, a lot of people were kind of separated, and they possibly saved a couple laps of fuel there, as this has been about a 40 lap run at the moment, so probably a good 3 to 4 laps of fuel extra you could save on these long runs like that. As we already have some pitters, it looks like Barry Nelson and Alex Gate is going to be going into pits this time at least. Probably a few others following them in here.
Yep, your race leader, he's coming in. Whoa it down, boys, going from 180 down to 55. It seems like everybody was able to slow it down in absolutely no time.
It looks like we did have a little bit of a lockup from Dale Vaquette, but I'm not quite sure he got a black flag or anything, so should be all good. As they did have a few other takers with them, which will help them out greatly here.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, it looked like the 28 machine of Barry Nelson. He had to throw his car into reverse and back down, back a little bit into his pit stall. So that's going to separate him from the rest of the pack here, as he is just now hitting turn 1 while everybody else is getting ready to come out of turn 2 here. Here it comes. Oh, there they are. So starting with that number 9 machine of Dale in that 8th spot on back, everybody else has went ahead and pitted. Now we're just waiting for that top 6 cars in front to make their way down pit road.
Yeah, I believe this top group is going to be stretching their fuel as far as they could possibly go here to try to lessen the amount of pit stops they have, as they should have at least another 3 pit stops before the end of the race.
Alrighty, and it sounds like the top 6 are now getting ready to come down pit road. And here they come. Taft had to swing all the way hard left to avoid getting to the back end there of, I believe that is that Wheelin Ford Mustang of Lee Campbell. Yeah, he had to quickly avoid, make contact with that.
So just to update on the first pack that pit here, is they're coming through 3 and 4 this time, and they should assume the race lead possibly, as they will have the more momentum as the other drivers are coming out of pits here. But we'll have to see after the race off pit road here, as Andrew Teft appears to have gained, Lee Campbell and Andrew Teft appear to have gained at least 2 spots there during the pit cycles. As you see the first pack that pit coming around the outside of our lead pack currently.
Yeah, now these drivers that are just now coming out of the pits back up here onto this back straightaway, you know, now these guys are going to, they're not at a full head of steam yet like your race leaders are, but as long as they can stay in that single file line and they can stay just about where they're at right now, they should be able to sucker up to the back bumper here just fine.
As we have another 3-car pack a little ways behind them, Cody Benoli and Alex Gates and Kirby Wayne Scott working together trying to get caught up to this lead group here.
Yeah, as we actually have that 60 machine trying to make it work on the outside, as he will go ahead and go on the attack here on the outside. And the 15 there of Kensley Smith, he was going to stay way high, and he'll fall back to the back, but everybody else will go ahead and just run once again single file here as they get ready to head up into the banking here in turn 3. That 4th car in line of Lee Campbell once again jumping out, and he does have the help from Andrew Teft in that number 98 machine on the outside. These guys are now starting to make headway around the outside here, as we have a 4-on-4 battle here now for the race lead with the 94 of Christopher Pendle and that 50 machine there of Terry Fennell joining them on the outside here. That's that 15 of Kensley. No, that's not Kensley. One car joined him over there on the outside, and he'll now fall back to the end of this line. There he is. So that was Terry Fennell who joined that outside lane a lap before, but they were not able to make any headway. So they went ahead and backed in line.
Yeah. Go back. Yeah.
Alright, so we have a breakaway of your top, looks like just about top 8 drivers here. And that backpack is being led by that 101 of Brian LaPratt. And they're now going to start making their way to the back bumper of your race leaders here, as your race leaders, or I'm sorry, not your race leaders, but the second pack, they kind of just got themselves discombobulated. It looks like they're going to try to work them ways out to find out who's going to be the better guy out front to lead. And so that will bring the 19 of Cody Benelli to the back part of this 5-car draft here. And that will put the 77 of Alex Gates right there, once again, to the back bumper of Brian LaPratt, and he's going to push these guys once again to the front.
I just want to take a moment to give a shout out to a couple people in the chat here, as we have a couple of people pulling for Chris Pendle in the 94 machine, and we also got someone pulling for the Mr. Prince. We wish them the best of luck in this race today, as they're both running decently well today.
Yeah, and while those guys are giving their shout outs, you know, let's go ahead and give them a shout out as well. You know, we got Christian Lem's Media Corner. Hello, welcome in. Great Lakes Sim. Welcome in as well there, guys.
And Mr. AJ Miller joining us all the way from Australia.
Yep, Mr. AJ Miller, yeah, he's rooting all the way from Australia. That's awesome. And if you guys are watching, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell to get notifications for when we are live, because it's a free subscription. Give us some love. And we are marching our way towards 1,000 subscribers right here on the Racers Elite Network. As we continue to watch this incredible race play out, Andrew Teft is doing an awesome job staying right there behind that 60 of Lee Campbell, who's being pulled by Dale Prokop Valquet,
I would assume.
Valquet? Yeah, we'll go Valquet.
How about we just do DPV? Like, he's driving the SVG car, we'll just call him DPV.
Alright, sounds like a plan to me. I do want to point out, though, Dale has been doing an incredible job out front in that number 9 machine. You know, he's been minding his P's and Q's all race long. And, you know,
Really
he's
been hovering about that second or third spot all day so far. I mean,
Yeah.
been a very consistent pusher. I mean, doing good overall.
right, you know, and, you know, looking back at like Andrew Teft in that number 98 McDonald's Racers Elite Ford Mustang, you know, we've actually seen him fall to the back, work his way to the front, fall back towards the back. Now he's back up here in that second spot. Unlike, you know, as you said, Dale, he's been sitting up here in the top 4 majority of this race.
Yeah, with these green flag runs like this, I'm noticing that the pit cycles has been a little hard for a few people here as we're having a second pack catch up to the front here. And they are making their way back up there, but when it comes to the closing laps, is that pit cycle going to affect your chances at a win?
It's gonna boil down to how you get in and out of pits. And that final pit stop, are you going to take a full tank of fuel and tires? Or are you just going to try to go with just 2 left side tires? As the left side tires, they do, you know, eat up a little bit more here than normal. Still single running single file here, as we do have Rick Webb in that number 54 machine coming down pit road. As he will pull it down here into his pit stall. And it looks like possibly he has a little bit of damage on the front end of that machine. I don't know if it's because of the way the paint scheme is, but I believe he might have some front end damage from all the tapping he's been doing with that machine. But he came down pit road all by himself, so that's really going to hurt him as he's going to pull himself back out onto the racetrack now. This is definitely a very interesting strategy call here from Rick Webb in that number 54 machine. I wonder if that was done by design or if he was actually having some issues with that race car.
It appears Mr. Webb might have been having a few issues with the motor in his car. Probably not running on all 8 cylinders at the moment as he's currently out of the car.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate, and I did just now get word that Rick Webb has packed it up into the garage, and their day is going to come to an end, along with Matty Monick and Steve Sizemore in the 48 and 08 as well. So now we are just down to just about 14 drivers left. As this front pack, they're starting to gain some time on a couple lap down cars. And that's going to be Barry Nelson in that number 28 machine.
Yeah, Barry Nelson's fighting to stay on the lead lap, but Aaron Roth being a lap down is trying to push him to the best visibility here, but just 2 cars is so hard to stay locked to the back bumper of the car in front of you. You really need at least 3 cars in order to lock onto the back bumper with the way the aero works in these vehicles.
Yeah, as they will now hit turn 1 and 2, and the leaders are now into 1 and 2, and they're just now exiting 2, so they're just about a corner of being away from being lapped. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen when and how hard he's going to race to try to stay on that lead lap. As we now have side-by-side racing up front with Dale PV on the outside, getting an incredible push from Michael Prince and that number 4588 machine. But here comes that 60 of Lee Campbell and 98 of Andrew Teft fighting strong here once again on that inside lane. The top three drivers, Dale, Michael, and Alex, they have cleared that 60 machine, but here they come fighting out a turn number 2. They are now getting themselves back up towards that lead pack, as you see Dale getting a major push there from Prince, as they will dive down to the inside and take over the top spot on the inside lanes. Now it's going to be up to that 77 of Alex Gates and that 15 machine of Kensley Smith. They're going to start working together now to push their way up to the top, as Dale thought about going up to block, but he thought better of it, as he will just stay down to the inside. And here comes Wayne Scott with them on that outside lane. The 77-15 of Gates and Smith cleared the top cars there of Michael Prince, and so now Michael Prince is Dale is going to be third now. And here comes Wayne Scott on that outside lane. He's trying to make some headway, but there's only 3 of those drivers right there, so they're not going to really do much room. They need to at least get 1 or 2 more cars out there if they really want to make their run back towards the front. But for now, the top 6 are going to start to pull away from that outside lane.
Oh, as we have a car going to the inside wall.
And that is going to be the 10 of Kirby Wayne Scott. Heavy damage for that driver, as he's not going to be able to get his machine.
Luckily, I mean, unlucky for him, but luckily for everybody else, he was able to dodge them, and I don't believe it's going to bring out a caution.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to bring out a caution.
There's just 1 car around, but he is still stuck in the middle of the track, unable to get going at the moment, I believe. Nope,
he
got back
is
going.
moving. Let's go back and see if we can take a look, see what happened to Kirby Wayne Scott on the exit of turn 4.
I see he has major damage to his hot rod at the moment.
Yeah, you can see that left front tire just not moving on that number 10 Racers Elite Toyota. He's going to have to come in and come get extensive repairs. But the question is, does he still have... I would imagine he still has his fast repair in his arsenal. As we take a look and see what happened on the exit of turn 4, it looks like just a push gone bad. Hard lick to that inside wall, and I believe that was off the front there of that 101 machine of Brian LaPratt. Hard impact for Wayne Scott, and Wayne Scott was not able to get back down pit road, as he's having a hard time getting that machine to turn left. So he will continue on here for another lap. Very unfortunate here for Wayne Scott, as he is already a couple laps, or 1 lap down, and he tried to turn down pit road this last time by, but unfortunately he just couldn't get the car to turn enough to get down to pit road, and luckily he went through the grass instead as your race leaders came by. Definitely very unfortunate there for Wayne Scott. As we come back to our race leaders, Alex Gates in that number 77 machine, he is still hanging strong there. Out front, getting good push by Kensley Smith. You know, Kensley Smith has been very strong all race long. He's always been a good pusher. Dakota, you and I, you know, we broadcasted their truck race here back on Friday, and something that we're seeing once again here with Kensley Smith is he's one heck of a pusher. So you definitely want to have Kensley Smith behind you at some point in this race.
Oh yeah, most of these drivers were pretty respectable and pretty good at holding the line and stuff as well. So, you got to give credit where credit's due. There's a pretty good pack of people, but Kingsley Smith just seems to be the #1 pusher, as they're typically behind somebody. Like, I don't really see them up in the front until the end of the race, trying to take over the lead. Alright, just to update on Kirby Wayne Scott, he was able to get down pit road and use his one fast repair. And he's coming back out on the track now. Unfortunately though, there's not been many yellows today, so it's going to be a really rough road ahead. He's going to have to kind of hope a couple other people maybe have some issues and maybe some good luck on some yellows. As we are currently past the halfway mark of this race by a few laps now.
Yeah, very strong, you know, runs for these drivers. And, you know, you mentioned, you know, we haven't had, you know, many cautions. We haven't had a caution yet. So these drivers are absolutely doing a phenomenal job. They know that they have a 500-mile race to complete. So all these drivers have been really doing a good job at finding their P's and Q's, you know, to avoid any, you know, unnecessary contact, which we did see, unfortunately, with Kirby Wayne Scott. You know, it's still got, you know, just about 85 laps to go here. You know, we still got a long way to go, but we're still going to sit here and take away time, as these drivers are still putting down pretty fast lap times, running at just about 50 seconds per lap.
When do you think we start to see the drivers pick up the pace and get more side-by-side action here?
I'm anticipating them to start doing that probably within the last 10 laps. Maybe even a little bit later than that, maybe in the last 5, because right now we only have 11 cars here on the lead lap. And so, in all reality, you're not going to try to work your way, you know, all the way from like 30th spot to the front in the closing laps. So since we do have such a small field here, I don't see them, you know, really making any big moves until possibly right around, you know, lap 183.
I think we're going to start seeing moves, or more moves, not necessarily like big moves, but towards the second to last pit stop, as people are going to be trying to get towards the front, maybe possibly get an early pit stop, depending on how the field plays out here. They've been averaging about 40 laps, and if that cycle continues, they're looking to be about 8 laps short. So I'm going to say within the last 40 laps, it's going to pick up. We're going to see people try to gain some spots, maybe pit a little early, and work together to get around the track and get caught back up to the people that decide to pit late.
That's very true. You know, these drivers, as we can tell, you know, they've been able to go just about 40 to 42 laps on a tank of fuel. So if you go to try, you know, to split it now, you know, once we come to lap 108, you know, at that point, it's a 2-lap, you know, 2-stop race, 1-stop.
So next pit should be around lap 120, and that'll leave about 68 laps.
Yeah, so they will have to pit at least 2 more times from here. It looks like Aaron Roth in that number 57 machine, he has He has gone ahead and packed it up into his hauler with some mechanical issues there as well. So now we have 4 drivers out of this race.
As Kirby Wayne Scott is got lapped again, but he's going to be able to catch up to the back of this pack here, as he had somebody come up and give him a little sniff of draft so he didn't fall back as bad, and he's just going to settle into the back here along with Barry Nelson.
Yep, it's going to be all about, you know, trying to find your friends, you know, and who are you going to want to work with. You know, as you said, you know, Kirby Wainscott, he joined up in the back of the pack, and he is currently sitting 2, maybe 3 laps down now, or 2 laps down. So the ultimate question is going to be is, you know, when it comes down to it, is he going to play a factor in possibly who wins this race? Or do you think he's going to just stay back behind and let everybody else duke it out?
I mean, he might be a few laps down, but you never know. You could get back into the race, but he still does have a teammate of Andrew Teft and Chicken Coop Racing. He can push to a win.
Yeah, that is very true.
Same with Barry Nelson. He might be a lap down at the moment, but he has 2 teammates, Terry Fennell and Timothy Osborne.
Yeah, as we ride on board here with the 50 of Terry Fennell. You know, Fennell, he's been nice and quiet back here in the 8th spot. He's been keeping his admin box number 50 machine, you know, nice and quiet and nice and clean. You know, so he's actually doing, look forward to seeing him start attacking late in this race here as well, as they climb the bankings here in 1 and 2. It is just an absolute crazy, you know, view watching from this camera and from the gyro cam. You can really get a sense of an idea of the banking in these corners. You know, they're really massive. You know, I got fortunate enough about 6 years ago to actually ride in a old NASCAR Cup car around Daytona, and let me tell you what, once you hit the banking, your butt gets squished down into that racing seat, and you can pull the belts tight maybe another 3 inches. And that's something that these drivers do use to their advantage under the first couple pace laps. You know, as they hit the banking and your butt sucks down into that seat, they'll reach up and they'll pull the belts tighter, because trust me, they want them tight when racing around here at Talladega and Daytona, you know, when they're only racing like less than a car length from separation from each other.
Yeah, and as we see, the Ford manufacturers are trying to work together at the moment and make this outside line work, trying to get a charge up towards the front. Andrew Test leading that group, by the way.
Yeah, Andrew Teft, followed by that 101 machine of Brian LaPratt. So those drivers out there, they're trying to make something work. Lee Campbell's out there, the 94. Christopher Pendle, he's out there as well. All these drivers trying to make something work now on that outside lane, and they got a good amount of cars out there of 5. So this is definitely enough, you know, drivers to start making that run to the outside. As you see, Teft, he will go back down to the inside, leaving everybody else on the outside to hang. But here comes Brian Pratt and that 60 car of Lee Campbell. Now they're just down to 3 cars, but they're not going to be able to make any headroom with just 3 cars. So these guys might fall back behind Wayne Scott and just pick up the draft from there. All right, we're probably just about 8 laps now away from getting ready for our next set of pit stops. You know, and I am listening in on radio communications here, and there's really not much to listen to. All these drivers are not really complaining about much of, you know, they're not complaining much about how their car is handling. Their cars are apparently handling pretty good there. Benelli said that he's going to just stick his nose out just a little bit to get some air to his cooler. But other than that, it's nice and quiet on the radio.
Yeah, it looks like my pick of Cody might have just got put a lap down currently. As he appears to be losing the draft, it looks like he might have a little front end damage from pushing there.
Yeah, Cody Benelli currently back in that 12th spot. I am showing that he is 1 lap down, so that will bring us to 10 cars now on the lead lap. Benelli had a very strong early on in this race, and unfortunately he did get stuck 1 lap down now, as we have 4 cars now trying to make headway on that outside lane, and it's once again being led by Andrew Teft. Alex Gates still out front in that number 77 machine, followed by Kensley Smith, and Dale is still out there in the number 9 running in 3rd. So you remember how we were talking a little bit ago how Dale's been up in the top 4 all race long, and then Andrew Teft jumping back and forth? Well, here's Teft back in that 7th spot once again, trying to make his way back towards the front. But there's still a very long way to go. We have at least 2 more pit stops before this race is over, so still anything can happen now. We're just going to unfortunately do that thing called wait and see what happens. These drivers doing an incredible job, still running side by side. Teft still trying to get that outside lane moving, but he's not able to get it moving on that outside lane just yet, as they are now running back side by side with it looks like that 28, possibly a Barry Nelson. As we take a look here at Terry Fennell in that number 50 machine, he's doing an incredible job, you know, just hanging out in the back. You know, for there only being 3 cars on that outside, Teft and company is actually really doing a pretty good job at staying steady right there, probably right around that 6th spot, as they continue to make their way closer and closer. And we just got word that we got some drivers going to start coming down pit road here once again. We have just about six drivers down here on pit road. Kensley Smith, Alex Gates, Dale, Michael Prince, Timothy Eisburn, and Barry Nelson. They all came down pit road this time by. Now, last time that we were watching, Wayne Scott and another driver, they kind of got, you know, bit by staying out without pitting with the rest of the field. Hopefully that was a lesson learned for the rest of these guys. And so let's find out and see if everybody else is going to come in this time, as we see Christopher Pendle taking over the race lead, as they will come out of turn 4, and they are starting to back it down.
Yeah, we're starting to see who's possibly working together and stuff here. Is It kind of seems like the same people have been pitting with each other the past few pit stops here.
Yeah, it seems like we're starting to see it. Alliances start playing out here. All the Chevys, except Terry Fennell in that 50 machine, they all pitted together. Oh, and Brian LaPratte. So they all pitted together. So out of all the Chevys, only 2 of them didn't pit with the rest of them. As we see, the number 9 of DPV is starting to head up here into turn number 1. And they are going to quickly approach the second pack that pitted on the following lap. This second group, the top 3, actually had a pretty decent exit out of pits. So they're somewhat going to be up to full song by the time the first pack actually catches them here.
Yeah, it seems like we had a couple different strategies from that second group that pit there, as it appears some of them might have took some tires and some of them might not have.
Yeah, as that front 3 leaders of Christopher Pendle, Andrew Teft, and Lee Campbell, they're actually running single file out front, heading up here into turn number 1. They were able to actually stay out in front of everybody else as we continue to ride on board here with DPV, as he's trying to get a good push from Alex Yates to try to catch the front 3 here, which unfortunately they will catch them. It's just going to be a matter of time. These 3 Fords out front are doing a phenomenal job staying single file, keeping their noses clean. Even though that second pack is gaining, they are gaining very, very slowly. Christopher Pendle, he had some fans over in chat. They're probably cheering right now as he is out front, followed by the one and the only Andrew Teft in that number 98 machine, and Lee Campbell in the number 60. A little bit of movement now out of this top 3 here, which is going to slow their momentum just a little bit. But it doesn't seem like that's going to hurt them too terribly bad as we look back from Lee Campbell and see the distance all the way back to that 4th spot of Dale PV. As they continue to run single file in that second pack, slowly but surely gaining on Lee Campbell, Teft, and Pendle. As you see here, it's just about to 1.078 and quickly declining. It seems like once they hit up into the banking here, the time kind of just like freezes just a little bit. Or at least, see, there it is right there. They were frozen, and these 3 are actually just pulling away slightly. But then that second pack starts to regain on the straightaways, which is actually very interesting to see, to be honest there, Dakota. You know, as you see, they're now back to a 1.8 second difference. It stalls out here in the corners, and then on the back straightaway, the second pack will gain, but once they hit the corner, they stall out again.
So I think this has got to do with what we were discussing the other day of how the Fords and Toyotas and Chevys drive a little bit differently. The Toyotas and Fords are typically looser in the corners, and that's allowing them to carry more momentum to the center of the corner, even though, you know, the high bankings and stuff, you would think that full throttle, everyone should be running the same. No, not exactly.
Yeah, it's just actually very interesting to see that the separation not really make much leeway at this present moment, you know, but once that second group can get down to under 1 second, they are just going to sucker right up to the back bumper of that Lee Campbell machine. and those cars behind, they will eat those front three like they're for breakfast.
Yeah, so we're going to be working on lap 124 this time by. These, this front three might have a strategy for the second pack here, though. They could be formulating some kind of a plan to try to keep the lead here, as they do have a pretty good gap between them and the second pack.
I'll guarantee that they must have a plan. You know, as they definitely pitted all together. You know, they didn't wait too long after that first pack of Chevys pitted. Then these guys came down, and so far it's worked out for them. But there is now just about a second separation between Lee Campbell and Dale in that number 9, or the Dale in the number 9 and Lee Campbell in the 60. They're under that 1 second threshold, so they now have that draft, and by the end of this lap, they're going to be right there on the back bumper of the top 3. And just like that, they are right there on the back bumper, and the 9, he will go ahead and go, and here comes that second pack to come with him. Andrew Teft goes out to try to stall them out a little bit, which he did, but there is just too much momentum from that outside lane, and all 3 of those cars are front nose to tail, which is definitely going to make them a lot quicker, as Dale, he will be propelled to the top spot for the moment, as you see the 77 and the 4588 of Michael Prince. They're continuing to stay strong on that outside lane, and let's see if they can get Kinsley Smith clear as well.
Alright, as we got a little bit of a side-by-side battle here, how about we take a moment and crank it up for a minute and let these viewers hear these horses sing.
Sounds like a plan to me, ladies and gentlemen. Crank up your sound, and we'll be quiet so you can listen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are working lap 131 of 188 right here at Talladega Super Speedway. If you guys are just now tuning in, I'm Mike Taylor up here in the booth with my good buddy, good friend, Dakota LaRue, and the man behind the masterpiece that you are seeing right here on Racers Elite Network is Christian Hill. He's giving you all the beautiful views, all the beautiful overlays. Thank you so much for everything you do behind the scenes for us, Christian. And we look forward to working with you more. As you see, the drivers now still kind of running single file here. As you see that number 94 of Christopher Pendle starting to make his way around the outside. And now you have Andrew Teff back to right behind him. And now we're just trying to figure out what that...
had a little bit of movement back here in fourth place. One of the drivers got on the apron a little bit and about came up and smacked the outside line, but luckily the drivers were able to recover it there.
Yeah, that was a really good catch right there. As that outside lane, they are starting to make movement now, moving up around. Oh, we have trouble in the back. Hard contact. The caution will wave for the first time. The number 50 machine, I'm sorry, the 28 machine of Barry Nelson got turned on the exit of turn 4, hard contact to the outside wall, and he will bring it down to the pits to the attention of his crew, and we will have our very first caution here at Talladega. Let's go back, take a look, and see what happened to Barry Nelson and that number 28 machine.
And that caution was about perfect timing for Mr. Terry, as he's going to have Lucky Dog and get his lap back here as he just currently went a lap down.
Here they come out of turn number 4. As you see, he thought he was clear, but Brian LaPrat, was already there when he came down. So that's a very unfortunate situation there for the 28 machine, as he thought he was clear and he wasn't. As we take it nice and slow, and this here is exactly what the 101 machine saw from his viewpoint. He was like, I'm here, but you're going to go around, not me, as he kept it nice and straight here. And that will bring out our first caution tonight, or today, here at Talladega Super Speedway. And while these guys are now here coming down pit road, let's go ahead and see what these drivers elect to do. I would imagine that they're going to come in for 4 tires and fuel. As we get this beautiful view right here. I am absolutely jealous of this driver pack that Christian Hill is running in the background. Such beautiful views. And just an incredible job by him, as we now have drivers start pulling away. Andrew Teft, he will come out with that race lead. Dale coming out second. Brian LaPrat third. Kensley Smith will come out fourth. Alex Gates fifth. Christopher Pendle, he will now exit pits. As you see, the 4588 of Michael Pritz coming out of the pits here. And while we are under this caution, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we will see you on the flip side. Stay tuned.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Talladega Super Speedway. As you see here live from your pace car, the drivers of the Racers Elite Chartered Series is now lining up to get ready to do it all again. The penalty for this caution will be on that number 28 machine of Barry Nelson for causing the incident here on lap 132. And so far, ladies and gentlemen, that was our only caution. So we're going to rack these guys up and we're going to do it all again. Terry Fennell in that number 50 machine, I believe he was the lucky dog on this caution. And the pace car is down in the pits, and it is now in the hands of the man, Andrew Teft, in that number 98 machine with Dale PV on his outside. And we are green flag racing once again here at Talladega Super Speedway. Andrew Teft and Brian LaPratte got an incredible jump there on the start, and that will allow Dale PV and Kensley Smith to suck down to the inside in front of Alex Gates. And unfortunately, that 92 machine back there of Timothy Eisberg got stuck on the outside, but he will go ahead and bring his machine down to the inside lane here. And the cars will now run single file, as there's a separation now between the 15 and the 77 of Smith and Gates. It did not take them long to get themselves back single file, as we are coming to complete lap 136. Really good racing all morning long, guys. It's been an incredible run for all of these drivers. You know, keeping it nice, clean, being very, very respectful. And we've seen two different packs recatch the race leaders after pit cycles. And we will still have at least one more pit stop before this thing is over, as these drivers cannot make it to the end, as these guys can only go approximately 40 to 42 laps on a tank of fuel. So now the question is going to be, when do you want to come in, or how late do you want to wait?
I mean, honestly, if I'm at the pit again here, I'm gonna try to pit as early as I can and get together with my group of people I trust and push really hard, see if we can get caught back up to, or make any ground up on the pack that stays out.
Yeah, three cars that have been very strong about that has been the 98 of Andrew Teft, Christopher Pendle in that 94 machine, and Lee Campbell in the 60. They've been very well, working very well together there. And so, and they're separated pretty good now. Andrew Teft, he is up in that first position where Christopher Pendle and Lee Campbell are both back in 7 and 8, so there's a good separation between those three Fords. But once those three get hooked up, it's pretty much Ford versus everybody else.
Yeah, but we can't count out the Chevys who have been pitting about a lap earlier than the Fords currently, and gaining a lot of momentum doing so. It's been springing them forward towards the lead, and they've been working very well together. Especially the 9 of DEPV and Alex Gates, just the two to mention there. They've definitely been working really well together.
That they have, they've been actually working very well together all race long, as you mentioned. So as
And I can't forget Kinsley Smith. Sorry about that. One of the best pictures we've been seeing over the past few days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As he will get right to that back bumper of DPV, and you're gonna watch him start to push this 9 car right back to that bumper of your 2 race leaders, who have got a little bit out in front of the rest of the field. But it's not going to take them too terribly long to get right back to that back bumper and possibly try to make a move here on your race leaders. Yeah, for me, I don't want to wait too terribly long once we get inside 40 laps to go to make my final pit stop. Because if something were to happen, I still want to have enough time to come back and say, okay, I made a mistake, but I still have a chance to win this.
Some of the perks of pitting early is if we do get a late race caution, you might not have to bring it back down pit road. And if others haven't pit, that's positions gained without having to do with doing minimal work.
Oh, absolutely. The cars here just, they, because of how new this surface is, this current surface is maybe only about 6 years old, maybe 7 years old, and so it doesn't eat away, at the tires like the old Talladega used to. So I don't think these drivers are going to come down and get tires again, and if they do, they only may get 2 tires.
Yeah, that is very true, but at the same time, it really depends on what your strategy's been during the race going forward, because it might not eat away at your tires much, but at some point you will have to get tires, or you'll start getting a little loose while being pushed. But hopefully under that last caution, a lot of people got tires if they needed it and all such.
Actually, I can take a look at our pit times, and it actually does look like Andrew Teft and Brian LaPratt, they only got 2 tires, along with Michael Prince in that number 45 machine. He only took 2 tires here as well.
Keep in mind, like typically through super speedways, the inside tires don't wear as much as the outside, like by a lot. So I mean, 2 tires is still plenty to make it to the end of this race, in my thoughts.
For sure. I noticed during my run back Friday night, I believe it was, my left rear tire, as the 101 gives a really huge push to Andrew Teft there heading into turn number 3. My left rear tire was at like 82%, where the rest of my tires were all in the low 90s.
Yeah, it really depends on what kind of setup you're using and such. Like, typically the iRacing set's a little on the tighter side of most tracks, and just because it's made to be new user friendly in most cases.
As we see Kirby Wainscott going down another lap here. Wainscott very unfortunate, got spun out. And it did not bring out a caution, so unfortunately, he is going to be a couple laps down now as these drivers continue to work their way around this massive super speedway. And look at Andrew Teft and Brian LaPratte start pulling away from the rest of the field a little bit. And then here comes Dale PV saying, hey, wait for me.
So, I know Cody's got to be praying for another caution at the moment, as he's currently sitting only one lap down and has the potential to get back on the lead lap here and be able to get a good finish.
Oh, that's definitely, a very good, strong possibility for that number 19 machine of Cody Benelli. He's been very strong, the last couple races that, I've seen him in, so... And, unfortunately, Lady Luck hasn't been on side yet today. But, hey, we still got just about 43 to 44 laps left in this thing. There's still a possibility that one more caution could come out. So he's just got to keep his foot in the throttle and stay with this lead pack.
Oh yeah, especially as we're coming to the closing laps here and we still got one more pit stop. We're going to start seeing some more aggressive moves, I would assume, as you want to be getting in the right position to set yourself up for a win here.
You're talking about being aggressive. How aggressive do you think these drivers are going to be getting into the pits here on the final pit stop?
I think we got potential to possibly see a black flag here, but I mean, sometimes it's better to be a little safe when you're entering into the pits. I mean, the risk versus the reward, you might gain a couple tenths, but with the draft at this type of track, I mean, as long as you stay within 0.5 or so of the person in front of you, you're going to be able to catch right back up.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point there. I agree with that 100%. As you see Andrew Teft continuing to lead this field as they enter turn 1 here once again. We are in that time in the race where they're just settling things down and just turning laps. They're not going to try to make any crazy moves or try anything crazy just yet. They're just going to run single file here along the inside of this racetrack. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have a couple cars decided to try to take them to the outside. Here comes that. Who is that out there? Is that Barry Nelson?
Yes, that's Barry Nelson.
There
And Mike Prince trying to work their. Looks like Barry's trying to help Mike get a couple spots here as Mike's going to draw it back down to the inside lane, as it's really hard to make that outside work with just two cars.
Yeah, these two drivers are actually not on the lead lap, but they're working their way back towards the front saying, we can't run for the win right now, but we're going to run to try to get our lap back. And I give them a lot of props for that, because trying to race your way back to the front to get your lap back, it kind of adds, strain on the race itself, as you have your race leaders, they're trying to run for the race win, but yet you have this lap down car coming up, trying to get their lap back, and sometimes it's not very, well taken among the drivers.
Yeah, but this group of people, I mean, I don't think they'll have any issue with it. And honestly, if I'm the lead car, I don't mind having a lap car in front of me trying to get their lap back, because it gives me potential to save a little more fuel and still be in the lead.
Yeah, that's very, very true there. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times, I've been here at restrictor plate races, being a lap down car trying to get my lap back, and I will push or pull somebody to the front, and people tell me, all right, now that you're out front, you're a lap down, get out of our way. And I'm like, hold on a second. I'm trying to get my lap back. Leave me alone. Some people are more receptive to it, and some people are just like, you're a lap down, get out of my way.
Not a lap car being in front of me, especially when I'm the leader, just due to the fact of I can save fuel, and you know, the people that got a pit with me, they can go a little farther as they're able to save fuel behind me, and that'll let me potentially get a few extra laps out of the tank.
Yeah, that is true. You know, that's actually something I never really, you know, thought about. You know, and I've been doing this sim racing stuff since 2010. So, you know, I've got 15 years on the service, and I actually never thought about that. These drivers still running single file here as we're watching Kensley Smith in that number 15 machine. You know, he's minding his P's and Q's in that 4th spot. And then Michael Prince back there in that 5th spot just hanging out. You know, they're doing the right thing here. You know, we're letting laps tick down, and, you know, we're trying to make things run nice and smooth here, which they are. So this is exactly what we wanted to see here as we ride on board now with Christopher Pendle in that number 94 machine back in that 8th spot. He is that first Ford that wants to try to get up to your race leader so that the Fords can come home 1, 2, 3. But as right now, they've got a lot of Chevys that they need to try to get around here in the closing laps. Alright, so we are now in our safe zone to come down for our final pit stop. Now it's just going to be the waiting game to see, you know, who's going to come down and when. A little bit of separation there starting to form between your front pack and the last cars back there, just about where Christopher Pendle is back in that 8th spot, as they go ahead and they will bring them all back together again. You know, it's a good yo-yo effect that's going on here. You know, cars will fall back just a little bit, but then they just have that draft just to pull them right back in. All right, I got a question here now for you, Dakota.
All right.
What is the paint scheme of the race?
Paint scheme of the race. Give me a moment here. I mean, I might be a little biased, but I kind of like the number 9's Budweiser paint. Kind of reminds me of old Dale Jr. throwback to when he was in the A car.
Yeah, it is missing just those little stripes that Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, you know, look to it, but definitely a really good throwback paint scheme there, you know, very basic. But I'm also going to go with a throwback sort of paint scheme, and I'm going to go to that 15 of Kensley Smith and that beautiful Budweiser paint scheme. Kind of reminds me of a mix between Dale Jr.'s 2001 Pepsi 400 car and that Napa of Michael Waltrip in the number 15 in the 2001 Pepsi 400. The race, you know, the first race back at Daytona says the passing of Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. I mean, a few other good mentions like the 88 driving an SVG paint scheme, WeatherTech Chevy. I mean, there's a lot of good paint schemes through the field. I mean, the cars are looking a little dirty now, so the rubber's been kicking up on them, but at the start of the race, these cars are very shiny and they look very good.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, when I do my paint schemes, you know, I like to mix and match, and so definitely like the 15. That one really stood out to me. You know, taking two different paint schemes, throwing it on one. You know, kind of like in the real world. I think it was Jeff Gordon kind of did a throwback to his Rainbow Warrior days, to his Flame days. And so that was a very interesting combination to see on his race car. But I highly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's nice being able to see all the different paint schemes people are able to come up with, especially whenever they're paying homages to other drivers and such. Like Andrew Tent, I believe that might be kind of like a Bubba Wallace McDonald's paint scheme. I could be incorrect on that, but it's kind of giving me Bubba Wallace vibes.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a Bubba Wallace, you know, color McDonald's. But the red on it also kind of reminds me back to Bill Elliott's McDonald days. When he was driving, I believe it was the 94 McDonald's machine.
But overall, there's always a lot of good paint schemes in here, as some of these drivers are pretty creative with their skill sets and minds here.
Yep, that is very true there, as we are coming to 30 to go, I believe, this next time by. So that... All right,
I believe we're about to have some pit stops here soon.
Yep, I just heard Cody Benelli in the number 19. He's going to make it his way down pit road this time. So it's going to be interesting to see who else is going to come down with him.
I got a feeling a lot of the Fords are about to come down with them and try to work together to make up some ground on this lead pack if they stay out here.
Yep, and here they come. A good majority of them are going to come down pit road. It looks like all the Chevys and one Ford are coming down, except Terry Fennell. He's the only Chevy to stay out. Now, this is going to be all about keeping your cars nice and clean down pit road. Don't speed, because now we're down to the nitty-gritty, just under 30 laps to go here. And you don't want to come out and get stuck, you know, with a drive-through penalty or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how long this lead pack actually stays out here, as they do have the ability to go probably another good 10 or so laps before they actually have to pit.
Yep, it's definitely going to be very interesting to see here, as this first pack of Chevys and one Ford, they are actually doing pretty well, staying very well together here, as we have the rest of the field coming down. So our two Chevys and three Fords now down here on pit road. And it seems
the second pack pit might have lost a little bit of time, as the two in the front was a little disconnected from the people behind them, as there was a big gap where the first pack pitted. So they might have lost a little bit of time, but they should still be able to come out and get the draft if that.
Yep, as that front pack is now, or that first set of cars are now coming through the tri-oval. This front pack did a really good job at getting themselves put together, as you see them starting to rocket around the outside of the second pack that just came in. So they're going to be able to build a lot of separation now between themselves and that second pack. Now, if this group of five here can stay single file, they may be able to keep pulling away from that second pack that's now being led by Lee Campbell and Andrew Teft. Dale PB back out front, and not to toot his own horn, but this is Dale country, So anybody named Dale who is out front, you're home. And he is currently, and he is rocking around this speedway, being a really good push here by Michael Prince and that number 8845 machine. You know, something with Prince is he's been very strong as well, being a really good pusher, just like Kensley Smith and that number 15 machine. He's been able to push people around this speedway and keeping them, you know, from falling back too far. So seeing him up here in second is not surprising too much to me.
Yeah, these top 5 cars were able to get pretty organized coming off the pits, and the second group to pit there are very separated at the moment, so it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for them to get caught up here, I believe.
Yeah, right now we're looking at just about a 3.5, 4 second separation between them, and Timothy Iceburn in that 190 or in that number 92 machine, he's got to try to get himself, you know, closer to the back bumper there of Kensley Smith there. You know, if they really want to make this front pack here to really be dominant, he needs to really get back on the back bumper, because the more cars that are single file in line, the faster these guys are going to go and pull away from that second pack. Because as of right now, they are now 4 seconds in front, and it could just turn out to be a 5-man race to the win here today, as we don't need any more pit stops to decide our winner here today. So this is it. We're in the final home stretch of this race.
But you never know with it being Dega. I mean, a caution could come out at any time. This is one of those tracks where you just get random surprise cautions sometimes.
I mean, that is true.
But the Chevy camp is looking really good today, as they've been able to be in the front most of the race, and we've had a few moments where the Fords have been in, but the Chevy's been working very well together.
Yeah, these Chevy drivers have done a phenomenal job all race long so far, keeping themselves, you know, out front, minding their P's and Q's as they continue to work away around this massive super speedway. I'm really excited to see the finish of this race. You know, can the 6 on back catch this front pack, or will this top 5 just continue to pull away? You know, so I'm starting to get antsy over here, Dakota. And this is going to be
right
really
now,
interesting.
it's really looking like Drivers Extreme is going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish, as they are, you know, just working so well together today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a phenomenal job by these this top 5 drivers right here.
Yeah, I actually went and looked, and the top 4 are on the team together. It's not just the Chevy camp. I was believing there was a couple of Shiner drivers up there, but I think they're back there with the second pack. I could be wrong. I don't know. Timothy on the Shiner's team is currently sitting in P5. Looking to get a chance to get the Shiners out there for another win.
Yeah, he's definitely out there looking for another win here. I'm just taking a quick peek at this second pack. So there's actually only 3 drivers back in the second pack, and it's being led by Lee Campbell, Andrew Teft, and then Christopher Pendle. That Ford trio, with only being 3 cars, they're not going to have much luck here to get themselves back to the front here, unfortunately. So they're going to have to pray that a caution comes out. But with the way this race has gone, I don't see a caution coming out here in the next 20 laps.
I mean, there is a third pack that has developed towards the back. They're about 26 back from the leaders now. It's Brian LaPrette, Terry Fennell, and Cody Vanoli, but they're just it's going to be really hard for them to make up ground. And honestly, if there is a caution, that would pay off in Cody's favor, as he's still currently a lap down.
Yeah, that would definitely benefit there for Cody Benelli. As this second pack, they're still trying to chug away here at the laps, but I'm currently sitting back just about almost 6 seconds back as we jump back up here to our race leaders. These guys here out front, just minding their P's and Q's, and Michael Prince still shoving the 9 car as they go through turns 3 and 4. I don't know if he does. I don't think he knows that there's only 5 cars up front. He doesn't need to be doing all that pushing.
Hey, at the end of the day, there might only be 5 cars up front, but I want to keep myself in second position because that's the best place to win from, in my opinion, in this situation.
Absolutely, in this situation, even being in third, if I can get Kensley Smith to work with me, I wouldn't be in a bad position either in that third spot when that checkered flag flies, because at that point, he can work with me, push me towards the front, and I can possibly get him either a second or a third out of it, depending on how well he can push me to the front.
Yeah, I don't think any of these guys will be upset if any particular of the top 4 win here, but there is the little anomaly of Timothy being at 5th, but he still is part of the Chevy manufacturer, but he isn't part of the team. So be looking for him to possibly try to get some of these guys separated a little bit so he has a better chance of getting towards the front.
Yeah, Timothy Eisbrand definitely has a chance to win this as we have 20 laps to go this time. So we are now under pretty much a Class C fixed truck race, and we're going to see what these guys can do here in the next 19 to 20 laps.
We're under a Class C fixed truck race.
Yeah, they run just about 25 laps.
Fair enough.
I may or may not know a little bit about getting a truck to victory lane here, as I believe a good majority of my NASCAR wins have come in the trucks here at Talladega and Daytona.
I think most of my wins came from Indy personally, but I just love that track so much.
Yeah, it's Kirby.
Oh, absolutely. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, built back in 1902, is one of the most incredible tracks to race on. I personally have 2 Brickyard 400 wins there in the INS series, and a truck win at that track as well. So I love Indy as well. It's a really fun track, especially once you figure out how to drive it, because it's not an easy track to drive.
But you mean I don't just hold the gas and turn left?
Not like you do here at Talladega, you don't. And while this race here is starting to wind down, next week, or in 2 weeks, we are going to go to Phoenix for the season finale of the Racers Elite Sunday series. I'm not exactly sure what to call this series, but Racers Elite will be running in 2 weeks right here on the Racers Elite Network for the season finale, where we will crown the season champion. And with the way things are looking, I believe any driver in the top 3 or 4 can still walk home next in 2 weeks at Phoenix with that championship around their waist. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at Phoenix in 2 weeks. But first, we still got to finish up here where we have just about 15 laps to go.
Overall, this has been a very clean race today, as a lot of these drivers are showing a great amount of patience and not trying to push the issue in most cases.
Yeah, I was actually talking with the producer here, Christian. It is so hard to come up with things to talk about when you have such a clean race like we're seeing right now. Even when all the cars were together, running single file, 17 cars back, sometimes when they're just sitting there minding their P's and Q's, us as commentators, we go, well, what do we talk about now?
Hey,
But
I mean,
that's
that is the case in some cases. But
Yep. But that's one of the beautiful things about, clean races is when us commentators have nothing to talk about, that's when it's really a good race.
yeah. As it appears that Second Pack has picked up another car and now have 4 vehicles trying to push up here to catch the front pack. But they are currently running out of time as we're coming to 14 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, this second pack is now consisting of, let's take a look here. I see Wayne Scott in there. The Andrew Teft is there. Christopher Pendles, he's up in there. And Lee Campbell. And they did pick up Wayne Scott. So these guys are now just about 5.5 seconds back. Now these guys are going to have to really work hard together to make their way back to the back end of your race leaders. I do want to take note, Barry Nelson in that number 28 machine, he has pulled it into the garage with further issues to the suspension of his vehicle. So he went ahead and loaded up onto his race hauler. So Kirby Wayne Scott, another victim of unfortunate events here at Talladega Super Speedway.
Yeah, so as we had a pretty tight points battle coming into this race, it appears some of our points leaders have been having some issues, but overall, I mean, it's still going to be a pretty close battle going into the next race here.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be very close coming into the final race. The separation between first and second was only 1 point at the start of this race. And so, with Andrew Teft being back there in that 6th spot, that's going to change up things a little bit. As he's not getting, that strong finish so far, that we normally see out of that number 98 of Andrew Teft. So he is now struggling at the closing part of this race. So how much will the points be jumbled, after this race is all said and done?
I think the points will still be well within anyone's grasp. As we're going to be coming to 10 to go this time as they cross the line.
Ten laps to go already. This is absolutely crazy. Where has the time gone today? The separation.
My bad, a little hiccup there. We'll be coming to 11 to go this time.
The separation between Andrew Teft and Dale PV was 1 point. If Dale comes in and wins this race, I believe he will take over that top spot. And Corey Crowell, who is actually not here, he may actually end up falling behind Kensley Smith and Kirby Wayne Scott in the top 5. So 2 drivers are going to possibly move up, or 3 drivers are going to move up, where Andrew Teft, he's going to fall backwards just a little bit in the points here. And that's if they were to finish how it is right now. So once this thing gets done here in just 10 long laps, you know, it's going to be interesting to see now. And, you know, who knows what happens in the final 30 miles of this race.
Is the second pack making up any ground? I can't really tell. It don't really look like they're losing or gaining 2 off a bunch here.
Yeah, I am showing that they are now almost 6 seconds behind, so they have actually lost time to your race leaders. This second pack here being led by Andrew Teft, Christopher Pendle, Lee Campbell, and Kirby Wainscott in that number 10 machine. You know, they're just not making up much ground, even though that they are just a tad bit quicker than Eisburn. I can't see them able to make up, you know, 2 seconds a lap to catch your race leaders. So unfortunately, I think their day is going to be done starting in that 6th spot. But I mean, you still got 3 drivers there, so I mean, Lee Campbell can say, hey guys, I want to pass you guys because I want to finish 6th. So they could still race it down to the line here, and Wainscott will go ahead and make his way down pit road, and it will leave this trio of Fords to be by themselves. Wainscott coming down now to pit road. Very unfortunate day for him, getting taken out a little bit after the halfway point with no caution for his contact that he had. So my pick to win this race is out of the running. As we jump back here to your race leaders, DPV out in front of Michael Prince and Alex Gates, as they continue to be very dominant out front here. Michael Prince starting to move around just a little bit here on the back bumper of DPV. So we're going to have to wait and see, you know, what his strategy is going to be at the end of this race here. Man, any 5 of these drivers are going to be able to win this race. 4 of them are on the same team, and then you have Eisburn in that number 92 machine. He's hoping to make some noise, you know, by the end of this race. So what is this team going to do on the final lap? Are they just going to run it single file, or are they actually going to try to race for the championship?
I mean, I'm sure they're going to race when it comes to the final lap, but right now they're just trying to maintain the gap between them and Andrew Teft, as Andrew Teft is the current points leader, and they're wanting to gain.
That is true. I mean, it would be wise, because two of those drivers are currently in the top 5, and that's Kensley Smith and Dale up front. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see on, you know, what... Oh, actually, I'm looking at the team names. Andrew Teft and Dale are Chicken Coop. And Kensley Smith, he's actually driving Extreme.
Oh, that would be my bad. I thought Dale was part of driving Extreme, as he's currently sitting in the team chat with him at the moment.
And Timothy Eisbrand, he is not a team affiliated driver, so he's solo on his campaign here, as he will dive down back behind Kensley Smith in that number 15 machine. And Wayne Scott, he will try to do his best to attach to this pack here, as we have 4 laps to go this time by. All right, we are now down here to the nitty gritty. We have 10 miles remaining here at Talladega Super Speedway. And this front 5 are starting to have a little bit more movement happening, as you see them they're starting to make a lot more movement here on the back straightaway. As you see, the top 3 here kind of start to pull away from the 15 of Kensley Smith, but hopefully Eisburn can stay behind Smith and continue to keep him up front here as they start to run like that middle lane kind of there in the tri-oval. I'm not sure if that's very wise, as we now have 3 laps to go this time.
It kind of appears they might be trying to pick up the lap car to see if he can work with them to get them a little extra oomph to get up around here and battle for the lead.
I mean, that's very possible. Wayne Scott, he is part of Chicken Coop, which is Andrew Teft and Dale's, teammate. So, I mean, if he can get up there and help out that 9 car, that would be interesting to see what's going to happen, as we will have 5 miles to go this time by, 2 laps to go. It is still anybody's race in this top 5. Who's going to make the move? Who's going to just say, okay, I want a strong points day? And does somebody want to take home the win first? And, it's very interesting to watch, as we will ride on board now with Timothy Eisburn, as that front 4 is starting to pull away just a little bit. But just like that, he will get suckered right back to his back bumper. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's get your belts pulled tight. We are going to come to the 1 to go this time by. DPV, Michael Prince, Alex Gates, Kensley Smith, Timothy Eisburn. Any 5 of these drivers, or any one of these 5 drivers, can win this race as we come to the white flag this time by. And who is going to make the move? Who is going to just stay in line for points? That's what the big question is now, as you see that 15 of Kensley Smith, he's going to be the first to jump out in line, and he's going to have Eisburn come with him. Incredible run for the 15 of Smith, but he gets stalled out as Eisburn cannot get to his back bumper. And you see Gates now pushing the 4588 of Prince back to the back bumper of that number 9, and he will just stay right behind the number 9 for the moment as they come off at turn number 4. And will he make a move? Here comes Gates to the outside with help from that 92, but they stall out. Ladies and gentlemen, to the line, it is going to be... It's going to be Dale PV for the race win, followed by Michael Prince, Alex Gates, as they go 3 wide across the start-finish line. What an incredible run for those drivers out front. Dale, Prokop, Valquet. Once we get him up here, we're going to figure out how to pronounce his name. But Dale's is in Dale country. What an incredible run for Dale, as he's hollering, hey, I'm out of fuel, I need a push. Dale had just enough fuel to make it out of turn 2 on that cool down lap, as he will get a push here from the 4588 of Michael Prince. As you see the 3 drivers right there, all just hanging out together. And that right there is your top 3 That's actually a pretty cool little view right there. That'll be an awesome picture.
No.
As they will come to the start finish line and park it here, as he cannot do a burnout. So it looks like we have the 88 and the 77 going to do burnouts for them. And I don't know if the 15 knows that, oh, they're going to squish the race leader here. This is awesome. Never have I ever saw something like this, but this is amazing. Your top... sorry.
As we're sitting here watching them, we're going to take a short commercial break and we'll come back with our results shortly.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. What an incredible race we witnessed here, right here on the Racer Elite Network from your Racer Elite group. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at our final results. Dale TV took the win here today, and he probably also took over your points lead as well. Second place was Michael Prince in that number 45, and Alex Gates just lost it by just a little bit as well, as they went 3 wide for the finish. Timothy Eisburn, he was able to get around that 15 of Kensley Smith for 4th place, and Kensley Smith, he will round out your top 5. Andrew Teft with a very hurt day will finish here at 6th. Christopher Pendle in the 94 machine will bring it home 7th. Lee Campbell in the 68th. Brian LaPratte in the number 101 machine will bring it home 9th. And Terry Fennell will bring in your top 10. 11th will be Cody Benelli. He just needed one more caution to get his lap back, and then he would have been able to run for the race lead, but unfortunately that caution never came. Heartbreaking day for Kirby Wainscott in that number 10 machine. He will finish 12th, 4 laps down. Barry Nelson in that number 28 machine had issues out of turn 4 and continued to have suspension issues, so he retired early from this race. Aaron Roth, Rick Webb both had issues as well, and Matthew Monick and Steve Sizemore had engine issues early on from the drafting here at Talladega. So unfortunately, they will end back in 16th and 17th. But that was your final results here at Talladega Super Speedway. We have some drivers down in underneath of us in the waiting room. Let's go ahead and drag somebody up here for an interview.
Hey Dale, it's Dakota, Mike, and Christian up in a booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Dale, first question. How do you pronounce your last name?
You guys probably got it close. Dale Prokop Valaquet.
Valaquet.
You can do DPV, Dale Prokop. Prokop's fine.
Yeah, I was
just
doing
not
Dale PV. Yeah, I was doing Dale PV near the end. So,
That's fine.
what an incredible run for you here today at Talladega. You did take over the points lead here over the number 98 of Andrew Teft. How did your car feel today, and are you ready for next week or in 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was good. They changed the draft since the last time we were here, so we had to kind of adjust to that. But yeah, Phoenix isn't a super strong track of mine, so my thought going in today was try to make a little bit of a gap for myself for the final race. It's pretty close.
Yeah, were you worried there on that final lap with Michael Prince and Alex Gates behind you, possibly getting a decent run out of 4? Or did you know that you had enough engine underneath that Budweiser hood to keep you out front?
It all depended on who went with who. I think when they tried to make that top groove work, the difference was that they didn't have a third car, so it's a little hard when you don't have 3 people.
Absolutely. Dakota, do you
I
have
told them
any
the gloves were off, though. We were working together the whole race, but I told them we just got to do what we got to do.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes down to the final lap, you know, all deals are off, and you were able to bring it home. Dakota, do you have any questions?
So the Chevys look really strong today. Who took charge and was kind of making some of the calls?
Oh, we were all making different calls, pitting wise. One of us got really far back, and Murray made the call to go back and get them, and then there was a pit call we were all discussing. It was pretty equal, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's good. I mean, y'all were working very well getting down into the pits together. Y'all didn't. I don't think y'all really had too much of an issue, as it appeared the other group that was pitting a little later than y'all was having a few issues, especially towards the end of the race.
One of the cycles they cycled out in front of us somehow. I don't know what the difference really was between all of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but you guys made up 14 seconds under that pit stop. So that was actually a very incredible run from you guys in the Chevy camp, going from 14 seconds all the way back to the lead.
Mm.
Is there anybody that you would like to thank before we let you get back down to business?
All in all, I always like to just thank Andrew for putting in the effort behind the scenes to put this stuff on and let us have fun on the weekends here.
Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be Dale PV in that number 9 Budweiser Chevrolet, your race winner for the Talladega 500 right here on the Racers Elite Network. Congratulations, Dale, on your race win. And we'll see you 2 weeks at the season finale over at Phoenix.
Thank you. It should be exciting.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and keep it in line. Let's go ahead and get up that number 4588 machine of Michael Prince.
How's it going, Michael? You got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
Let's just cut our mic up in the booth. Just had a couple questions for you. Overall, how do you feel your race went today?
It went well. We stayed out of trouble, stayed up front for the most part, and got it done.
That's good. How did you feel working with the your Chevy brethren today? Y'all seem like y'all was working very well together.
Oh yeah, they're a good group of drivers. Every move we tried to make, we could make. Whether it was the top, the bottom, pit strategy, everything we wanted to do, we were able to execute.
Yeah, it seemed like you were running about second or third most of the race today. You're always a good name to bring up when it comes to pushing. Like you're a very good pusher. So how do you feel about your opportunity to win there? What do you think you could have done differently to get the win?
Maybe just left him dry a little bit earlier, but I'd worked with him most of the race, so I was comfortable where I was at.
That's fair enough. I'm gonna let Mike ask you a few questions if he has any here. I appreciate you taking time to speak with me.
All right.
Yeah, Michael, that number 88 WeatherTech Chevrolet was wicked fast all day long. You brought it home second. Uh, that whole entire Chevy camp worked like a dream team. How much of a role did you play in it? Helping to call shots throughout the race.
Uh, I guess we all had about an equal part in it. Just pushing when we needed to push. Uh, making our call outs correctly. Letting each other know where we were on fuel. Just the thing that any team would do. But yeah, we all just played an equal part in it.
All right, yeah. I was trying to catch Dale in the lie, but I guess he's right. Everybody did play an equal part there. Um, so that's actually very awesome, to hear that, the entire Chevy camp, you all came home top five, kicking the Fords and Toyota out of the top five, keeping them out. So next week we head over to Phoenix. What's your thoughts about Phoenix? And finish it off by if anybody you would like to thank.
Uh, Phoenix, I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but as far as people to thank, just the guys at Driving Extreme for letting me tag along with them this week, and Andrew for putting this on for us.
Beautiful. Alrighty, Mike. Congratulations again on your second place here at Talladega, and we'll see you in a couple weeks at Phoenix.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, driver of the number 8845 WeatherTech Chevrolet, Michael Prince, and let's get your third place in here of Alex J. Gates in that number 77 Chevrolet.
How's it going, Alex? This is Dakota. Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Alex, you had pretty much kind of a up and down day in that number 77 machine, but ultimately you were able to drive it all the way up here to that third spot. How did your car handle throughout the day? And um, as you see, you were able to, as we all see, you were able to bring it back home third for a 3 wide at the start finish line. How was your race?
Yeah, it was good in the beginning. Car felt fine the whole time. A couple points where it got tight, but nothing too crazy. There was a couple of times in the first two pit stops I just could not figure it out. I would lose the draft coming out, and luckily I had Smith come and help me and save me from going a lap or two down. So I got to give a huge shout out to him for doing that.
Right. Definitely getting in and out of the pits here is probably one of the hardest ones. It may look easy, but you're going from 190 all the way down to 55. So sometimes getting in and out of your pit stall just wrong, just a tad will be enough to knock a few tenths out from getting out of the pits. In 2 weeks, we head over to Phoenix. What's your thoughts about Phoenix? And you can close it out with anybody you would like to thank.
Yeah, I got a love-hate relationship with Phoenix. Sometimes I'll do good, sometimes I'll do horrible at it. It's like another Daytona or Talladega for me. It's the luck is up in the air. But I'm also hoping I'll even be able to make it. But I do want to give a huge shout out to my family for letting me do this. I know this one was a long race for them. Want to give a huge shout out to Andrew for being able to put this on. as well as the Hunter Lopez Foundation on the hood of the car. I know that they were watching, so I'm glad I was actually able to get in the top 3 this time instead of just being there during the race. And then all the Driving Extreme Inc. teammates that I had out there helping me out.
Beautiful. Alrighty, Alex, congratulations on your third place finish here at Talladega. We will see you in 2 weeks over at Phoenix.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You as well. Ladies and gentlemen, driver the number 77 Chevrolet, Alex Gates. It looks like we do have one more driver hanging out over in the waiting room. If we want to go ahead and bring your 5th place finisher, Kensley Smith, up here, let's see what he wants to talk about. Kensley Smith, it's Mike up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right. We see you hanging out down there in the waiting room. You were able to bring that number 15 Chevrolet home 5th. How did your car feel? You know, strong pusher all race long. So how'd your car feel? And I absolutely love your paint scheme.
Thank you. Car felt fine for me. Wasn't like anything drastic. It was a normal plate feeling, where if you're right up on somebody in the corner, you get a little tight. And but I mean, all in all, it didn't really feel any different. I didn't have practice going down pit road, so the first pit stop was kind of scary for me, but I was able to do it correctly, not just fly through the grass.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of locking up of the tires heading down pit road. You know, that Napa Budweiser Chevrolet just seemed like it just stuck it wherever you wanted. And do you prefer, because we know that you are one of the greatest pushers that I have seen in a very long time, along with Michael Prince. Do you prefer to push on the inside or the high side here at Talladega?
It's really kind of the same for me. It's just being on the outside is a little bit harder, just because you don't know what the inside's doing and where they're going to be at in the corners or on the straights, or somebody's nose could be a little bit further right, and you think you can go down and get hooked or something. And preferably, I would rather push in general. I don't really like being pushed. I mean, I can do it if I need to, but pushing to me is just something that comes natural, and I just have an eye for when to push somebody.
Got you. You made a lot of ground in the point standings here today, as Corey Crowell was not in attendance here, and Kirby Wainscott got taken out, unfortunately, there. And you did finish in front of Andrew Tuff. The only guy you didn't finish in front of was Dale. 2 weeks we head over to Phoenix, and like I said, you've gained time or points here on both Corey and Andrew. How do you feel about Phoenix in 2 weeks, and do you think you'll have enough to possibly come home with the championship next in 2 weeks?
Probably not. Dale's pretty far ahead. I think I'm minus 30 something to him. So I don't believe I'll come home with the championship, but there's a possibility for P2, which wouldn't be a bad deal either. I missed a lot of the races. I think I was only in 4 of the races, or 7 of the races, and both of them were in 9 of the races.
So all around, you've had a pretty good season. So you'll be comfortable. You know, if you don't win the championship, you'll be comfortable second or third.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And is there anybody that you would like to thank before we let you get out of here today?
Of course, all my guys at Driving Extreme Inc. I've gotten together a pretty good team, especially for these charter races. And a lot of those guys do really well. Dale joined in for an honorary member of this week, and we were able to get him the win. So that works out pretty well. And of course, Andrew, he does a hell of a job putting all this stuff on. The amount of races that he puts on a week is mind blowing to me, and I don't know how he keeps up with it. And then of course, you guys in the booth. Pretty sure this is going to be a fun one to rewatch and have fun watching it with my family.
Absolutely. Alrighty. congratulations on your top 5 finish. We'll see you in a couple weeks when we take to the 1 mile track of Phoenix. And well, Dakota, before we get out of here today, what are your final thoughts on the race today, and what's your thoughts about 2 weeks heading into Phoenix?
I mean, overall, pretty fun race to watch. A lot of patience and clean racing. I mean, we got a good amount of green flag laps in. It wasn't a wreck fest. I quite enjoy it, getting to see different fuel strategies and watching people get on and off pit road. It's the kind of racing I like to see.
Yeah, definitely really good racing. And in 2 weeks, we head to Phoenix for the season finale. It's going to come down to possibly 3 drivers, maybe 4 drivers. And that's going to be Andrew Teff, Dale, PV, Corey Crowell, and Kensley Smith. That will all determine, though, after we get our point standings updated here. But who are you going to look at to come home with the championship in 2 weeks at Phoenix?
After the few short weeks that I've been here, you just can't count Andrew Teff out. I don't know what it is, but just most of the time, whenever he needs to, he can put himself in the right place at the right time. And honestly, today, after watching Dale, he's got a pretty good chance as well. He seems like he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders and knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that statement 1,000%. I'm looking at either Andrew Teff or Dale to come home with the championship. Dale will most likely head into the final race as your leader on the board, and then after the grueling race over in Phoenix, we will crown our champion. So please come back right here on the Racers Elite Network, November 2nd at 11 a.m. Eastern. We will be live to bring you the season finale for the 2025 chartered season. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, Mike Taylor, my good buddy Dakota LaRue, and once again a big shout out to the man Christian Hill running your cams, your overlays, all the beautiful work. Please, you guys, go check him out. Give him a shout out if you need a good, amazing broadcaster to run your operations. Get with Christian Hill. He's absolutely amazing with what he does here. So again, on behalf of all of us up here in the booth, thank you guys so much for joining us right here on Racers Elite Network. And we will see you in 2 weeks live from Phoenix. Till then, happy time zones.